Greetings, my name is Rudimentary Rob. Welcome back to my Valheim series, and welcome to episode 1 of the 3rd season. Congratulations if you've stuck with me this long. We have a action-packed episode lined up for you today. We are going to set foot for the first time into the Plains biome. And, well, first time in any biome, it's always action-packed. So, get yourself strapped in, get your favourite adventuring helmet on. It's time for some exploring. So, we are here and we're going to be exploring the plains that we found on the Elder Island. So we're just sticking our nose over the line here. There's always a little bit of chaos where you've got two different biomes overlapping, and I gotta say, Black Forest does not ever do very well out of this arrangement. As you can see, there's a deer that tried to run out across the plains, and it has attracted itself quite a bit of attention. Don't worry, we'll come across a random deer pelt later. I'm sure that's where it came from. In the meantime, you're going to come across a few structures on the plains. This is one of them, and it's like a scout towery kind of thing. It's always got these fuelings, and again, from this point forward, I'm just going to call them goblins because I dare you to tell me that they look like anything else. These guys do tend to hit pretty hard. Now, if you have a quick look at my food, you're going to see that the last of my serpent stew is part of my food mix, and with good reason. These little fellas, they hit hard. But they are not the only thing that hits really hard in this biome. I'll let you sort of work out what some of the other critters are along the way. But as we're reaching the end of this day, we're just entertaining ourselves with this tower and the, I don't know, 4 or 5 goblins that are inhabiting it. Now, the reason why we want to clear this tower is, well, it's really close to the entrance of where we're going to be coming and going, and it kind of makes sense to clear it out. But the other reason is they have a chance to have a totem in them. Now, the totems are what you need to summon the next boss. And if I tell you that they're pretty thin on the ground, take my word for it. So, anytime you see a structure like this, if you don't already have enough totems, I'm going to suggest you clear it out and, you know, check it for lumps, so to speak. Now, I'm utilising a bit of a tactic here, which is very, very useful in a lot of biomes, and this one is no exception to that. There are a lot of critters in this biome that don't like each other. First example are the little bouncy blob things that you saw in the distance. Now, they are Tarpits. They are, I guess you could say, kind of elementals, so they're a bit like the slimes in the swamp. But they do not like anything else in the plains biome. In fact, they generally don't like very much at all. So anytime I want to save myself a bit of work, I will get these slimes to aggro on whatever it is that I'm trying to kill or clear. And they come in very handy with that. Given these towers tend to contain quite a lot of goblins, given their size, any help you can get, particularly when you haven't had the chance to get any gear upgrades in this biome yet, yeah, whatever help you can get is good. Now, just of note, in regard to materials from this biome, we don't actually do any mining. You may have noticed before that I picked up black metal. That's actually dropped by the goblins. And you don't need a huge amount of it relative to some of the other materials. So if you end up gathering around about the same amount that you got in silver, that's not a bad place to start. There are some later recipes in Ashlands that I think use a little bit of black metal as well. But again, it's your tools that tend to use most of it. The armor that we're going to be making is called padded armor. And the metal you need for that is actually the iron that we were getting in the swamp. Now, I knew that ahead of time, and that is part of the reason why I gathered a bucket load of iron when I was out in the swamp. It's not the only reason to have an excess of iron, but it's definitely a very good one. As we return to the action here, we're just taking the lazy method of clearing the goblins out of this tower. Because they're on platforms and the mobs don't know how to go up and down ladders, anytime you can just pew them with arrows, it's usually not a bad idea. These are just obsidian arrows, but the bow, the Dragurfang bow, applies a poison with each arrow. So that's what the little damage numbers are that are ticking away after I shoot them each time. Alright, in amongst the other bits and pieces that I picked up, I did actually get a totem out of this tower, which is one down, and I actually can't remember how many you need for Yag, but I know it's, I think it's 5, but don't quote me on that, I'll check back later. In amongst that, we got our totem, we got some more black metal, and we got some tar. Now, tar is pretty good. One of the really good early uses for tar is to make the jacuzzi or hot tub. Unfortunately, it's not a time machine, but it does give you 2 extra comfort, and so that can add a bit extra on your rested buff. So we'll definitely be making one of those at some point. In the meantime, I'm not done locating stuff. You might think, oh my god, you've discovered so many things in this new biome already. What more is there to find? Well, wouldn't you like to know? Now, in my next warning message, I'm going to tell you about these Tarpits. Now, this particular tar pit, because of its proximity to a lot of other goblins, the usual amount of tar beasts is somewhat lacking. So we only ended up with a couple in there, and they're now dead. We will come back and drain that tar pit so we can get the rest of the tar. Anything that's sort of immersed in the tar, it won't let you pick it up because it says it's been stuck in the tar. So, you know, it's never a dull moment in the plains. And if you haven't fought a goblin in the last 30 seconds, chances are there's another one not that far away. So don't ever randomly AFK in the plains without pausing your game first, because you'll probably come back and be naked wondering where all your gear went. Now, in the other list of questions about things that I've advised people on before, which is not to run around in a new biome at night. Because you've got such good visibility in the plains, you do have a bit of lead time for dealing with or running away from things. That said though, if it's your first, you know, or second or third time into the plains, I probably wouldn't be coming out here at night. I'm kind of aware of how the goblins behave and, you know, the how, when and where with dealing with their, you know, problems, as well as I know to stay away from most of the other things in this biome at night. So I'm essentially just here riding out the night, just trying to kill as many of these goblins as I can to get as much black metal as I can. That's really all I'm doing here, is just clearing them out. And coming here at night is a better time to do it because they respawn a lot faster. I am risking coming across a 2-star goblin, and I'm going to say I'm not in a hurry to do that. That said though, I actually had a pretty clear run this time, so I think somebody somewhere in the random number generator was actually liking me in this session. Now, special mention here to Alino. This is a Lox in its native environment. It is also not a friendly Lox, so if you get to this point, try not to run up and, you know, randomly want to hug them before you've had a chance to tame one. Because as you're going to see here in a moment, they can hit pretty hard. Now, to date, I haven't actually tamed any of these in my current game, primarily because it takes a while to actually get enough food to be able to tame them, let alone regularly feed them. They do not eat any of the foods from the previous biomes, so they will only eat cloudberries or either of the regular crops that you can grow here. They don't actually eat anything else, so when you first come to the plains, if you really want a Lox, just start collecting cloudberries. Keep going until you get like 100 of them. It'll probably take 10 to 20 of them to, you know, tame the Lox, and then the rest will be just to keep it fed. But of course, if you want Lox babies, you're going to need 2 Loxes. So, yeah. Enjoy that prospect. In the meantime, I have moved the action over to a Goblin Village. Now, these Goblin Villages are very dangerous. Not the least of which because they actually have quite a lot of goblins in them. But they have a additional type of goblin, which there's one just there with a big long staff, which I'm about to kill. Yeah, that's a shaman. They can throw up this hit point shield and they hurl fireballs, and I'm going to tell you, the fireballs hurt. So anytime I can pick them off at long range, I usually try and do that. But other than the shamans, the other types of goblins are pretty much the same. So you get the ones with the spears and the ones with the torch, and pretty much every other flavour of goblin. The other danger in these villages is the berserkers, and you're going to know what they look like. There's one there in the distance I'm about to shoot. He's about 3 times the size or 4 times the size of the regular goblins. And they hit hard. And you're going to want to be very careful with them. But, you know, me being impatient, I'm hurling arrows at just about everything at this point. And just come to realise that this rock I've climbed up on, yeah, they can climb up on it as well. So I have kind of opened a bit of a can of worms here. Let's see if I can put the lid back on. Well, you know me, up for a challenge, in for a penny, in for a pound, all that other good stuff. We managed to add at least 1 Lox to the queue, and I'm sure I heard a shaman charging up an attack there as well. So we've run to the next rock. We have burnt through all of our stamina doing it, but we've jumped up here just to see if we can get a rock that nothing can... Oh, wait. Never mind, let's go looking for another rock to see if we can get one that nothing wants to climb up on. Oh, except the Lox can climb on this one as well. Alright, well, we're going to have to look for a plan C or a plan D. Actually, I honestly don't know what letter plan we're up to at this stage, so I chugged down my food to give it all a refresh. Whatever solution I'm going to come up with needs to be quick. Bone mass is not going to save me because it's got about 15 minutes left on it. So I start heading for this tar pit because I know anything that runs into it is going to be brought basically to a halt. And that would then allow me to finish them off with arrows. So that's my plan. And it seems to be working so far. Alright, well, you know, last minute plan to, you know, save my bacon actually worked. Not satisfied that I've already saved my bacon, of course, knowing me, I'm out to find some more trouble to get into. Now, there is quite a lot more to be had in that village, and I'm definitely not one to take no for an answer in terms of trying to get the village cleared out and see what other fat loots can be obtained. So I've returned to the scene of the crime, and we're working on thinning out the numbers a bit more. So, have you been counting how many goblins I've killed so far? Have I reached, double digits yet? Leave a comment down below if you think you can count up just how many goblins I end up killing from this one village. It's not a small number. Alright, I'm going to eyeball this shot. Not from there, not from there. Alright, let's see. Through the tower, nothing but goblin? Nah. Oh well. It's worth a try. Yeah, there are times you just want to shout at the stupid goblins for their parting, but honestly, sometimes it will be the bane of your existence, other times it might save your life. I don't know. You just put up with it, and when they're extra stupid, it just makes them easier to kill them. Alright, this is jackpot number 1 as far as I'm concerned. This is Flax, and this is the only way you generally find it. Although occasionally you do come across a little bit in chests here and there. Most of the time though, your main supply for it is going to be these villages. Now that Flax, it doesn't work the same, so there's some barley there as well. It doesn't work the same as the other vegetables that you've come across. There is no seed. All that happens is you plant some flax or you plant some barley, and when it matures, you will get 2 of that item. So you don't get 3 when you do your crop rotation. You only get 2. Which means it takes a donkey's age to build it up to a decent quantity. So if you're a bit unlucky with your finding of barley and or flax and you've only got 1 or 2, you better get it in the ground as soon as you can, because it's going to take a while before you've got a useful quantity of it. As it turns out though, I did end up with a pretty good supply from this particular village. I can't remember the exact breakdown, but it was just over 20 of each, and that gave me a really good starting point. Now, the other point I'm going to let you know is I was unbelievably lucky to get both flax, and barley in one village, but not just one village, in the first village I went to. I've lost count of how many run-throughs I've had where I'll get to a village, even one this size, and it's got a whole bunch of nothing of any use in it except for half a dozen flax plants. And so I will end up, you know, going through 3 or 4 villages before I get both flax and barley. Now, did anyone notice a little message that just popped up there when I switched back to my bow? Yeah, if you thought I'd been a little bit careless with my arrows, yeah, you'd be correct on that count. We have completely run out of arrows, and I am now making a value decision about whether I push my luck or I just, you know, take off with what I've already got. And in yet another example of, you know, Rob changing his mind 3 times in the same sentence, I made myself up to carrying 450 weight, and then I realised, there's still a bit more barley there. I should try and pick that up. And so here I am trying to pick it up, but I didn't leave myself enough inventory space, or weight I should say, to be able to get it all. So now I've got to retreat, kill this little guy, and then try again. Alright, I finally admitted to myself that I should get out while the getting out is good. Don't worry about all the sparklies on the ground, we will come back and get those in due course. In the meantime, I've got myself clear of the village. It's time to run back to base and drop all of this back off at the tower. Don't worry, I'll bring a boat up here at some stage to pick this up. Now we're going to walk back to base and resupply. But resupplying is boring. I thought I'd bring you to Hilda's camp. Hilda's a bit special. Hilda's actually got 2 tame loxes. Now this is the quest hub, or the where you get the first quests that you can get in Valheim. And it involves those special locations, and if you remember from earlier in Season 2, I came across that special dungeon in the Black Forest. That is one of the quest locations. As you do more quests, you unlock more things that you can buy from Hilda. We will go into that in more detail in the future. But we have reached the end of this episode. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more, make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. In the meantime, my name is Rudimentary Rob. Thank you very much for watching, and have yourself a fantastic day.